What's up, guys? Joe Munoz, OneStepPrep.com. Bingo fuel. What is it? Okay. Well, good question. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about how to calculate it. And what I'm going to do is show you a real example that we can work through together. Now, bingo fuel, I just Googled for the sake of getting a description online. Bingo fuel, originally a military term, signifies the minimum fuel needed to safely reach a destination with calculations based on factors like fuel burn and distance. Now, what's interesting, you can scroll all you want. You're not really going to find an exact way or mechanism to get you to bingo fuel. Some people say do it this way, do it that way. There's many ways to quote unquote skin a cat, as we like to hear. The method I'm going to show you is not the only one. Maybe you've got your own. Put it in comments below. Maybe you don't like this one at all. Okay, good. It's one for you to consider. It's called the BAR method, B-A-R, and it's one that you may have heard of. B is for the burn. We'll talk about what that means in detail, as we will all these. A is the alternate, and R is your reserve. Okay, burn plus alternate plus reserve equals bingo fuel. All right, burn plus alternate plus reserve equals your bingo fuel. Now, burn, let's talk about this. Burn is from your current position to the destination. So from my current, put it here, as I take my board down, burn is from the current position to the destination. All right, now typically in a McDo or an FMS, you can figure this out pretty easily, right? So PPOS, present position to destination. That's the burn that we're talking about. Alternate is from the destination to the alternate. And then finally, the reserve is typically on an IFR flight. 45 minutes is usually what the reserve is that we're looking for. Now, in most narrow-body jets, this is a very general, and it is general, rule of thumb. If we take pounds of fuel, let's say 4,500 pounds, and we remove the last two digits, that usually gives me time in minutes of fuel remaining. So 4,500 pounds, roughly 45 minutes. If we go to 6,000 pounds, 60 minutes. If we go to 12,000 pounds, 120 minutes or 2 hours. Again, this is a general rule of thumb for most twin-engine narrow-body jets. Now, obviously, we've got the A320neo, the new engine option with these super fuel-efficient engines where actually this is going to be more than 45 minutes of fuel, right? So it's a more conservative approach and it's a very generic approach, but it kind of gets you in the ballpark so that when you look at your fuel load, you can quickly get into the neighborhood of roughly what you're looking at in terms of time. Now, let's get into an example that I have here of a flight that we were doing from where were we doing it to? We were doing Boston to Kennedy. Boston to Kennedy. And the fuel on board is 14,000 pounds. So let's just look at this here. This is in a 320. All right, and we're going to say that the fuel on board is 14,000 pounds. Now, in the fuel predict page of the 320, I hit fuel predict. I'll put it up on the screen so you can see it. We can see that at JFK, it's estimating that we're going to land with 9,700 pounds. Now, if I take 14,000 and subtract 9,700, that gives me 4,300. So the burn, 4,300, that is from present position. I currently have 14,000 pounds at this present position. If I go straight to Kennedy right now, it's saying I'm going to land with 9,700 pounds. That's going to take 4,300 pounds to get me there. So my part of the acronym, B for burn, right? My burn is going to be 4,300 pounds. Now I need my alternate. Now, the alternate happens to be LaGuardia, and it says that my alternate is only 0.2 based on the image you're seeing on the screen, which is not much. So they're saying 200 pounds. That's because LaGuardia is right next to Kennedy. Now, obviously, the computer is calculating that, right? Whether you feel comfortable or not with that is a different story, but that's what it's saying is accurate. And then in addition to that, it says our final time, which is the reserve time, the final reserve, if you will, in terms of our acronym. Remember, BAR. The reserve here is saying 3.8. So that's 3,800 pounds of fuel. So now we take the burn plus the alternate plus the reserve. We add it all together. That's 4,300 plus the 200 is 4,500 plus the 3,800 is 8,300 pounds. So 8,300 pounds is our bingo fuel. Now we currently have in this present moment, we have 14,000 pounds. We have to be on our way for sure to the destination when we reach 8,300 pounds. The difference that we have here is our extra time or our extra fuel. So in this image, it shows our extra as 5.7, 5,700 pounds. And the way they got to that is 14,000 minus the 8,300, that's 5,700 pounds. So this is our extra fuel. And if you can do our little trick where we take off the last two digits, it's roughly 57 minutes that we could take weather deviations or hold or get vectors or whatever it is we want to do with that extra time. But at the end of the day, at 8,300, at the minimum, is when we have to get going to the destination. Now, is it possible for you to say, well, let's do this bar calculation, and then for the fudge factor, we add another 1,000 pounds to make you feel better? Okay, so instead of 8,300, it's 9,300. Yeah, you can do that. Or maybe you say, no, I don't want to add 1,000, I want to add 500. Or maybe you say this alternate of 200 pounds, I'm going to say that we're going to have an alternate of roughly 1,000 pounds. Could you manipulate the figures a little bit to your liking? You could. This is just based on what the figures were in that image there. Now, me, myself, I do use the BAR acronym, and I typically do add anywhere between 500 to 1,000-ish extra pounds just for that fudge factor, depending on several variables, including, is it a single runway operation? Is there weather in between us? What are some of the other variables that could introduce complexities into the operation that maybe I would rather actually have a little bit more fuel for? So if you like that method, would love for you to comment below on why you like it, and if you don't like it, why you don't like it, or what method it is exactly that you use when calculating bingo fuel. As always, you know where to find us, onestepprep.com. Want to enjoy your friends in training program success. We'll see you in another video.